for joining us at this time, Kobi. If you can please introduce yourself, what do you do, and share your experience with the Supreme Point of.
Yes, well, my pleasure. So my name is Kobe Obi. I'm here in California. That's where I'm based. And I'm a full-time real estate investor, part-time natural health teacher. I joined the Sangha, I would say December 2017. I started to follow Swamiji's videos back in September of 2016. And it took me a year to finally make the great move to go and see my guru, who now became my guru. It's just been a very, very amazing experience, and I feel so blessed to have Swamiji uh, be in my life and to receive so much. So much has changed since then. It's been now what 4 years now. So uh, it happens so quickly, so fast, but so much has changed, and I just feel very blessed to have this wonderful experience in this Genma.
Wow, so nice to hear this, Kobi, from you. And what was the memorable experience, or how your life changed after you came to know about the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism? Could you share that with us, please?
Yes, absolutely. So, actually, it's funny because after following his videos for a year, um, one of the videos that stuck out to me first was the third eye video that went viral on YouTube, and that was one of the first videos that I watched. That one is the most memorable for me. That made me take a dive and to continue to watch his videos. Then it was another one, wealth manifestation video, that really was interesting because that was a issue that I had in my life, which was wealth manifestation. I had my own preconceived notions and cognitions about wealth that even hearing from an enlightened being such as Swamiji in Avatar, immediately that shifted because I'm like, wow, someone could be talking about wealth like this. So fast forward, my wife and I, we had a very traumatic experience in October of 2017. And, sometimes in the lowest moments or darkest moments, that's when, a true seeker,
Seeking.
take that push. Yeah. And in that case, for me, that state of powerlessness that I had, I wanted to immediately shift that powerlessness. And I knew that I had to go to India. I had to go to see Swamiji. So I did. I tried to manifest Mahasadashi Voham. I didn't fully cause myself. However, I was able to be in the breathing space in the Adinam during that for like about 2 weeks. And one of the Adinavasis was like, you should do Shiva Diksha. Just do Shiva Diksha, do Kalpaturu. You're here, do that at least. And during the time, I was also back and forth volunteering. So I was like, you know what? This is my opportunity to meet Swamiji, So and to get an initiation. Really, all I wanted was a hug, even though I needed healing as well from that experience. But I was like, let me just go out there and get a hug. So to get Diksha was another level, that was Bhagwan saying, this is at least, you came here, this is what you can receive. So I did the Kalpaturu and the Shiva Diksha the same day. And one of the questions that I asked Ma was, I asked five things. Uh, Two, which were the most important to me, which was obviously enlightenment, and then to manifest power in my life, manifest Shaktis in my life so that I can, change my reality. The other three, one, starting with the one, which is healing from what I went through. Two, better relationships with, family, friends, and just the world as a whole. And then three, which is relevant to what I'm going to get into, is financial stability, because I never had financial stability in my life. So I didn't even think. What's crazy is that I have a background in real estate because my father's a real estate investor and broker. But growing up, I never wanted to do real estate. But immediately after Diksha, a number of things happened for those devotees and disciples who received Diksha. A number of things happened. So a lot of mystical, spiritual, just intense energy happened. But minutes after that, I had this kind of like vision of like real estate would be in my future. And I'm like, self-doubt, self-denial, because my dad is a real estate investor. I just thought it was all in my head. But and mind you, I didn't want to do real estate, but somehow it was just, I saw that in the future. And I was like, nah. But fast forward, after I came back to California, I still didn't take a deep dive into it, immediately. But a year later, it's I just started to, take massive action into real estate, and it just kind of came very, very randomly. But I immediately thought about the Diksha. I thought about Swamiji, and I'm like, okay, you know what? If this is meant to be for my future, let's
Mhm.
go. I'm gonna go all in. So I started my real estate company, not knowing where I, exactly, if it was going to last another year or two, but I just had trust in Bhagwan, trust in Paramashiva, and that it would, I'll manifest exactly what I asked for, which was, financial stability and to start my own company by way of starting my own company. So it took 7 months for me to finally close on my real estate deal, a real estate deal after creating the company, and it was the most lump sum of money that I ever made,
Wow.
in my life at that time, at that point, which was almost six figures. So
Wow.
immediately, I already knew it wasn't even without question. It was Swamiji. It was the boom.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow, that was amazing. From where you were, before you went to India and wanting a financial stability, and the first real estate deal that you made was a six-figure deal. That is wonderful, Kobe. That's an amazing manifestation with the
thank you.
blessings of Swamiji.
Thank you. I mean, it's really interesting, when you put your trust into the divine, and your trust into Swamiji, that
Mhm.
your life just changes. And I can't even say miraculously. It's just, it really is, as Swamiji teaches, it's a science. It's a high science, and you know, for me, I always believed, once I had received that Diksha, I believed that everything that I asked for from Swamiji, that it will manifest. The one that I had the doubt from, which was own incompletions with wealth, was was the financial stability, and that one happened rather, to me it happened fast, because, like, as I told you, usually to make six figures it took me a year, but that one happened just through one deal. So it's just, everyone who, you know anyone who has wealth incompletions, ask Swamiji. It's really that simple. Just type or whatever. I know it's different now than it was then, but you can still find a way to ask the question through the Devi Darshan, ask Parashakti, go in there and type away, and you will absolutely get this, get your boon fulfilled, your wish fulfilled. The same way that I did, and just have trust, and know that it's possible.
Wow. Beautiful, Kobe. So beautifully shared. Is there anything else that you would like to share about your experience? And I know you were told about the three boons you asked Swamiji, and one was health. And what about the other two?
Oh, of course, healing was taken care of. Better relationships with family, friends. I mean, again, I just, Swamiji activating the Ananda Ganda. It's just that space of bliss constantly when people are around me. They want to tell me all of their, issues and their problems, as if I'm just a walking Atmalinga. And of course, you
So
know.
beautifully described as if I'm a walking Atmalinga.
So I definitely, have better relationships with the world, and I just constantly radiate the state, space, powers, beings, and super consciousness of Kailasa, as Swamiji has told and initiated, all of his disciples and devotees into that power. So I just, so much gratitude for making that happen. Of course, enlightenment hasn't happened yet, but I feel just, as long as I continue to follow all of Swamiji's teachings and continue to be in that space, in the breathing space of Swamiji. Eventually, before I leave the body, I know just like many of us de- desire, will receive that as well.
Absolutely, Kubi. And one of the things I can say from my experience of living around the Supreme Court of Hinduism is, that we start living a conflict-free life. We start manifesting what we want. All these are different dimensions of enlightenment, which start happening in your life. Completion, having a deep feeling connection with the Guru, and being able to manifest what we want in life, living our life more and more in powerfulness. Right, the amount of time that we spend in powerlessness will be drastically less, and even if we are powerless, we spring back to the space of powerfulness much quicker than a normal people or than other people who have not received the initiation. So all these are different flavors of enlightenment. And from my own experience, I can say only after a few years you look back and you see so much you have changed, so much the changes have happened in your life, and the way you respond to life, your cognition, perception, everything is so different. So the way we experience, and Swamiji makes us experience enlightenment, like he says it's ultimate but not final. So we keep manifesting different dimensions of enlightenment, and we keep growing into it. And only after, so living that conflict-free life and living a life where we know I can manifest what I want in my life with Swamiji's blessings are various dimensions of enlightenment. I can say, talking to you and just listening to you, and the space of bhakti that you are radiating with the Supreme Founder of Hinduism, you are definitely living and radiating so many dimensions of living enlightenment, Jivan Mukti. I can say that for sure.
Thank you, Ma. That's wonderful words, and I appreciate that. And everything you're saying resonates absolutely with me, and it's extremely true. One thing that I will share before we depart is that, to speak to that, I did 108 days of Nirahara Samyama, which obviously is the longest time I went without food, listening to Bhagwan's words of just stop eating. If you want change in life, just stop eating. So for me, I did a fast before that, but it wasn't that long. So to do that fast of 108 days, this breathing, just the state and the space that I was in, life just became, like you said, conflict free. It was just like bliss, just living and radiating bliss, throughout the entire day. Even doing the work that I'm doing in real estate, going on meetings, I was able to go on meetings and go see houses, and without feeling like I was powerless or feeling weak. I just had this intense energy, and I know that it's because of being a disciple of Swamiji. I know that it's because of having trust in Swamiji, just being with me every step of the way, because I took that sankalpa to say, I'm going to do 108 days. I don't care. I'm doing it. He said, stop eating. So I'm stop eating. Simple like that. Once I made that sankalpa, that declaration, then, I knew I was guided and I was protected by Paramashiva Swamiji, His Divine Holiness Bhagwan, Sri Nithyananda Paramashiva. And it's really that simple. So for anyone who's listening, just get out of the self-doubt, self-denial. Don't wait too long like I did. Just take a deep dive in. Just jump right in.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Kobe, for coming and sharing your beautiful and a wonderful experience in Nithyananda TV. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nithyananda.
Nithyananda. Yes. We had Kobe, who shared about manifested so many dimensions and manifesting so many dimensions of living enlightenment as life. And next, we have Ma Atma Prema from Norway, who had a very interesting Devi Parashakti Akashic reading. And she is here to share her experience. She has been with us before, and she's coming back, joining us back again today to share her experience of Devi Parashakti Akashic reading. Nithyananda Ma Atma Prema.
Nithyananda Ma.
Nithyananda Ma, welcome back to Nithyananda TV. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me again. This will be the third time that I'm sharing since the Devi Parashakti Darshan on the 1st of this month, so 9 days ago.
Beautiful. And maybe to our viewers, you can give a brief of what Devi Parashakti revealed to you, what was her blessing to you, and then we can move into your share.
If I can read it, Ma, it will be
Yes,
easier
please go
for
ahead.
me to. Okay. Okay. So on the 1st of June, Devi Parashakti answered my question after many, many weeks. I had never had an answer before, despite having asked the questions. So when this happened, it was a very intense, moving moment for me. And this was the answer that Devi had given. Listen well to what is being told, daughter. You are one of the beings who came down from Kailasa to be a co-captain and serve the world to protect it from the terrible corona. You forgot the purpose of coming and diverted into another life. Such beings as you, who came from Kailasa, are also the reasons for this terrible pralaya. Forgetting the divine seva you need to do and leaving the work you are meant to do, you are doing some other work. Like you and other such beings who came from Kailasa have become the reason for this great drama. For 3 days, think about what I told. I will make you realize it in your dream, waking state, and consciousness. I will show you the truth. Once you see it, I will give prayashchitta. Go and come a virtuous one. So this answer to me was just, it was very intense, because the moment this came to me, this answer, it hit me right in the gut. I knew it was the truth the moment it was said. I felt it, and then I sat with it, and I waited, and I allowed the words to sink in. And it has taken these number of days to realize just the kind of the weight of the responsibility and what we've come here and the purpose with which we're supposed to be here.
And when Devi Parashakti said, just I will reveal things to you and I will tell you what you need to do. The way, when I heard it, the way I see it is, really reawakening to the true purpose of your life, realigning us back to the real purpose of our life, which is what will give us fulfillment. That is what we came to this planet Earth for. And when we drift away from the purpose, she gives us a strong wake up call and realigns us back and tells us, what, this is what you came for. And when she shared this with you, Prima, what really went inside you? What was the experience that you had, and what was the realization that came from within you?
So, Ma, if I can go back to the beginning. So if I can share that my meeting with Swamiji, when I first met Swamiji, this happened in 2004. And I was in Oklahoma City at that time, and in the US. And I had graduated from college. I was looking for a job, and this was about 17 years ago. I was 21 years old, and I just saw a flyer on my aunt's table, and she invited me to attend the temple in Oklahoma City, and I went. And the moment Swamiji stepped out of the car, not knowing anything about him from the past, I just knew that I knew this person, that my being automatically recognized something, and something shifted within me, which I didn't even understand at that time and that moment. And from then on, life just took on a different color. I had purpose. There was so much peace. There was so much joy. There was an intensity. And all these words are actually pale in comparison to what that feeling was like. And it was being around Swamiji and being initiated and having the darshans. Everything was just auspiciousness unfolding. Every second it was manifesting. And just being in that breathing space was auspiciousness. It was everything that unfolded. It felt like you were living not on earth, but on a different plane of existence. So each time leaving that space in his physical presence was so unbearable. And it was very hard, because you felt like, okay, I want to be around the master. I want to be around the guru in his physical presence all the time. But at the time, a few years later, I moved back to the place I was born and grew up in, which was in Dubai, in the Middle East. And I would often go to Adi Kailash and attend various programs and get the the teachings and understandings and being in that breathing space. And every time I had to leave, it was like this separation was so hard. It was so unbearable to leave that space of Adi Kailash, but also knowing that everything that had imbibed from the teachings, it was important for me to go out and go back and do that seva and share with the people who were in the Sangha in Dubai at the time. And all they wanted to do was, listen to the stories and the sharings and just taste that the joy and the bliss, and enriching was just, it came with so much ease. It was just a natural process that all of us just kept doing. So at the time, I didn't even realize what was happening, but I took up the responsibility of the Sangha in the Middle East and in Dubai specifically. And at the time I was about 24 and the youngest coordinator for the mission at that time. And wow. I can't say I can't say that I knew anything about Hinduism or Sanatana Dharma. I grew up in Dubai, a Middle Eastern country. The most we had exposure was when we would visit India to visit our family and go to temples. But beyond that, there was not much understanding. So I didn't have any depth of knowledge around Vedas or Shastras, and I couldn't chant. It was not like I could chant and everyone was impressed or anything like that. There was no prior knowledge or experience before meeting Swamiji. So all that I came back to share every time after those visits to Adi Kailash was just sweet, simple stories that was just shared from intense bhakti, that devotion, that sweet devotion that comes through you just by being, just being in that oneness with Swamiji. And every time it was like a cloud that kept me floating through everything that I encountered in life, whether it was through work, through relationships, through the Sangha, everything. It was just such a beautiful flow. And just having that simple devotion, that simple trust, and just taking that simple action, the response was so incredible. The satsang grew, the Sangha grew. And the satsangs that we were hosting in devotees' homes, every week we would have satsangs that would keep moving from different devotees' homes because everyone wanted to host it. And we could no longer, and many of the people had not even met Swamiji. And there weren't too many things happening on social media at that time, unlike today. And people would just come because that bhakti was felt. And we had to form a center legally and officially. And in that center, we would have our Nitya Yoga, we would have our satsangs, we would have our youth group meetings. And eventually a Kalpataru happened in January of 2010. And this was just created by a handful of people who felt that deep connection to Swamiji. So why I'm saying all this, Ma, is because kind of to give a little bit of context and background to what has happened, where I've come from, and what happened in between. So during this time, this was now 6 years with Swamiji, being so closely associated, there were a lot of questions. And I was 21 when I met Swamiji. And so there were a lot of questions from family. There were doubts raised, why do you need to have a guru? You are too young. When will you get married? You're getting older. So there was all this pressure from the society and to my parents specifically. And it was hard to be able to convey to them just what having a guru and having Swamiji in our life was like. I mean, the countless blessings, the healings that had happened, it was too many to share. And all we did at that time was just continued on and just turned, deaf ears to what they were saying. Because I knew the had become, and the shift that had happened in me was so obvious to my family and then to my friends. And people were drawn to that and wanted to know who it was that I followed that kept me so much at peace and so centered with such unwavering faith despite any sort of ups and downs one experiences in life, whether it's through job or relationships. They could just see that it was with such ease that I was flowing through life, and I felt it. And I felt Swamiji's presence with me all the time. So what happened after all of this was that in June of 2009, a group of core devotees from Dubai, the Dubai Sangha, we all attended the Inner Awakening program. And we attended it together. It was such a beautiful 21 days. And then some of us extended our stay because we weren't ready to leave. And it was that time that Swamiji, after much of us asking and hoping and praying, Swamiji announced that there would be plans to come to Dubai and we could host the Kalpataru program for about 2 days. It was the plan for Swamiji and some of the senior Swamis to come and come to Dubai. So immediately after we returned to Dubai, work was underway. We had to organize, we had to plan, we had to make so many arrangements. We had to raise donations and manage an entire program, and we didn't know how many people would come. We were just a handful of us. I mean, it was satsangs were there, but we weren't sure how many people would actually attend. And so with all of this, we just surrendered to that moment and said, with absolute trust and devotion, we said, it'll happen. Swamiji has said it, now it just has to happen. We're just part of that process. And then people started registering, donations started coming in, and it all just unfolded so beautifully. That surrender and that whole process was just, we could see the divine play in all of that. So, receiving Swamiji, hosting the Kalpataru, having so many senior Swamis in attendance was really like literally a dream, and something we never thought could happen in a place like Dubai, and especially in the Middle East. So it was a successful program. Over 500 people attended from different parts of the Middle East. And, riding on this high of the experience, some of us were planning on attending the Kumbh Mela, which is the biggest religious gathering. And, we were thinking, what better way is there to experience a spiritual gathering like this than with one's own beloved Guru? So this is now all the background, and leading up to then what happened next was, I was to take a flight on the 3rd of March in 2010 and head to Bangalore and come to Adi Kailash and with a group of people, get together and then go to Kumbh Mela with Swamiji. And just before taking the flight, I got a call from one of the devotees in Dubai. And they said that there has been some news that's broken out. And I think you should be aware of it because you might consider not going and not taking the flight and not going to India. So I heard what he had to say. I understood that there was what was happening, but I didn't pay attention to it. I said, no, this is decided. I'm going to go. So I arrive the morning of March 3rd. And now India it's early morning. So a lot of India hasn't woken up to the news that has just come out on TV in India. And as I arrived to Adi Kailash, that feeling of excitement and, building that, okay, I'm back here, I'm back home. And I saw some people outside the campus and they looked like reporters. So, okay, I didn't think much of it. And I thought, okay, maybe this is related to whatever the news is. So go into the campus and find that everything is very silent. Everything is so eerily silent, actually. Just couldn't see anyone. I passed a devotee on the way who was responsible for some of the temple activities. And I asked him, he was a devotee in Dubai who moved with his wife to be at the temple and take care. And he said the temple wasn't open. So I thought that was quite strange, but I thought, okay, let me go, and maybe it's still too early, and let me go and register at the admin office and then just do all the formalities around, checking in and everything. So then we congregated, like for a few of the foreigners and everyone who had arrived, got together in the food hall, and then we were hearing bits and pieces of information, and we weren't sure what was happening, but something was going on. But we were kept safe, and we were told to be in a secured location, and in time we would be given some more information. And later on, we heard that the Gurukul had been set on fire by a mob of people. And so
Many of you, that was the exact same day, Atma Prema, just to let all of viewers know, that was the day when the religious persecution on the Supreme Court of Hinduism just 24 hours before had come out, and Swamiji was going through a series of assassination attempts, and it was the residents of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, being burnt along with Gurukul and along with so many other places, with Supreme Pontiff being locked inside his own monastery, and that was being live telecasted. And all this was happening, and the people who were there, I was there in the Adinam on that day, and none of us were allowed to, go to protect Swamiji or protect any other parts of the place. And all of us were cordoned off completely, and there was a complete police who were actually protecting the anti-Hindu elements to destroy the monastery, and they were not allowing us to go stop or do anything. And that's exactly when I think you were also there, happened to be there in the monastery at that same time. Yes, please go ahead.
Yes, Ma. And at the time, we didn't know what was happening, but of course, much later on, I understood. But at this moment in time, it was very disconcerting, but it was ensured that we were all kept safe. We were kept in a place that nobody could reach us, and we felt secure. We didn't feel threatened by any way, but we knew something big was happening. So that night, two devotees from the city came and whisked us away, actually, from the campus, saying that they're getting out of control. There's a lot of people, and we need to take you back into the city and be safe. Your parents are worried, and all of that. So we were put into a car. We were asked to remove any sort of anything related to Swamiji. We were asked to remove the mala, the bracelet, everything that was part of us. We had to just kind of remove and keep aside, so that in case we were stopped along the way, that we were not harassed or bothered. So we get into the city, and all the news channels are incessantly airing a video over and over and over. And it was just, I'd never seen anything like that being done with such consistency. It was as if that was all every news channel could do and report on. So it had the effect of visually affecting people, and I decided at my parents' insistence that I should return to Dubai and not remain in India longer. And I did that, and then I felt confused, and I didn't speak to anybody, and I neither tried to reach out to the administrators of the Adinam, Adi Kailash, nor did anyone contact me, because so much was happening at the time, and they were all trying to keep themselves protected as well. And so I kept a low profile for months, and this was right after a hugely successful Kalpataru program that had happened in January of that, just 2 months before. I mean, literally it was January, and now we're talking about March, and people are expecting to hear information, and now this has happened. So I know.
Add to you, Mahatma, because I was there in the monastery at that time, and we were just trying to ensure Swamiji's life was safe. Swamiji was going through a series of assassination attempts, and over a span of about from the 2nd of March till 21st of April, just in that 1 month and 1.5 months, his car was followed everywhere. Swamiji was at least had about, I think, more than 70 assassination attempts just in a month and a half. Every place there were people who were ready to, burn him alive, ready to kill him, ready to, do. And it was all, and with the police protection. Means the people who came to attack, they came with police protection for them. So there is no way we could do anything. So the whole administration at that time was focused on somehow we want to just somehow ensure Swamiji's life is safe. That was what was there for us. We just wanted Swamiji to be alive for what he was doing to humanity and what he has done to humanity and what he has done to all of us. That was what was going on, and we really couldn't, expect this level of a multi-pronged attack from every side. And I remember on the 3rd of March, there was an inquiry from 11 government departments. trying to, shut down the bank, trying to shut down the monastery, trying to shut down the Gurukul, trying to shut down the temple, trying to, get all of us out. I was there and we were literally forced to leave. They said, no, everything is closing. You have to leave. All the Adinavasis, we were forced to leave. The bank accounts were getting frozen. Swamiji was being attacked everywhere, every step of the way. And that was what was going on in India at the time, just to let you know, and for all our viewers also, at that moment, there's this continuous airing of this false news, so much of hate speech, and everywhere people are, barging into the monasteries and temples and breaking the deities and abusing sexually, like female monks getting sexually abused, and everywhere it was just completely out of hands. Even if we have had the best of the administration, it was just impossible to handle the attack that was happening from all directions on a small group of people who are trying to manage, and that most priority at the time was we wanted Swamiji's body to be safe.
Yes, Ma. And what shocked me the most, and I didn't even think in too deeply about it, but what hit me on the surface was that it wasn't just in India, but everywhere. It was news channels in Dubai, in the Middle East, and everywhere. It seemed as if it was, now looking back, what a coordinated attack, that it had all happened in this particular way and in such a huge in such a way that really affected everybody. And I know that so many people, I mean, the monastery was affected, people were trying to figure it all out. And it was a very disconcerting time. And newspapers in Dubai were calling me for a statement. I was contacted by the person implanted in the Sangha, responsible for bringing this whole thing this whole thing out, was started trying to contact me and seeking some sort of support or monetary help, and insinuating that his life was in danger. And so the media contacted me in Dubai, then this person who was implanted in the Sangha was contacting me, and then I was getting questions about whether I was involved in questions about black magic, and I would end those conversations, and I retreated further and further away from the Sangha, and even the Sangha in Dubai, I just I was confused, didn't know what was happening, and just decided I would just be quiet and silent, and somehow felt that fearful. And I thought, because I was single, I was unmarried, I may be a target for attacks next. And I couldn't afford to have my parents or my family in any way affected. So I just kept away. So for 1 year, it was like, I didn't even want to see, they didn't even want to look at what was happening. I didn't follow anything that was going on, or all the attacks that were happening on Swamiji, on the Sangha, on the entire monastery, and what they were trying to do. And a year later, it was almost like a post-traumatic stress response for me, 1 year away from my guru, who I had been so closely connected with for 6 years. And I just and the cognition that I had at the time was that I felt abandoned. I felt, I dropped everything, and I just felt like, okay, Swamiji's gone, I'm feeling abandoned. And in turn, I abandoned the Sangha and Swamiji, so I just thought, okay, now this is what life is, and let me just do what everyone in society expects one to do, which is continue having your job, live your comfortable lifestyle. And, I was encouraged to settle down, get married, and my life just took a 180 from there on. It went in a completely different direction. And I didn't realize that action, how much damage I was doing to myself, because I had a responsibility, not just to the Sangha in Dubai and to Swamiji, but to Sanatana Dharma, which in hindsight, I can see now. And I just thought, I allowed myself to override my judgment, and logic took over, and logic took over, and I just denied all the experiences I'd had until then. experiences that defied logic. And all the love, all the compassion, all the protection, all the immeasurable growth, the healing, everything that I'd had experienced was just compartmentalized and put aside. And I didn't revisit it for 10 years, and I didn't, at that moment now, I didn't stand for the principles. I didn't stand with conviction, that simple devotion, that simple trust. I just abandoned it and buried it, and I felt that the action at that moment in time, I didn't feel complete with it, because I did feel a responsibility towards the Middle Eastern Sangha. I had the opportunity to help the Sangha ride the wave of uncertainty till things became clearer, till the dust settled and we actually could find out what the truth was. And I didn't, so my reaction and then the lack of any action somewhat indicated my acceptance of this false narrative that was being spun around Swamiji and the Sangha. And it wasn't until March 2020, which is just last year, did I really understand or realize the magnitude of the persecution and the magnitude of the attacks on Swamiji, and how repeatedly the Sangha was under this attack and false allegations. And inside me, when I found all of this out, and now all of 10 years, I've kept an information blackout. And I didn't know any of this. And when I heard it, it unfurled in me a need to want to protect and stand, and just this feeling of wanting to be like a warrior. And what I had not done in those 10 years, I was feeling like, this is what I need to do now. So the years that I was away, it's from the Sangha and Swamiji, those 10 years, I had repeated visions of Swamiji. And in those visions, I would go and ask, why did this happen? And each time it was the same thing. And in that, Swamiji would say, come and see me. So I ignored those visions for several years. And then in 2017, right before I had my son, I had the vision of the banyan tree calling me. And then I knew that somehow I needed to return and be in the presence of the banyan tree. So then we had the opportunity. It unfolded in a way that was, again, defied logic. We happened to come to India after many, many years of being away. And one of the devotees who had been initiated into third eye powers did a body scan for me. And at that moment, the message to me that she got was, come and see me. There will be no hangover of the past. And those were the words exactly that I'd had in my visions all those years before. And the moment those words were said, I knew this was the time. And when they suggested that, oh, why don't we go to Adi Kailash? My immediate response was yes. And then immediately the rest of my family, my parents, my sister, my brother-in-law, all decided that we would go. And what stood out to me in all of this is that in these 10 years that I felt like I had separated, Swamiji was every step of the way. He was trying to reach me through the visions that I had, any experiences that I'd had through my life in those 10 years that were challenging. There was a strength within me that I didn't realize I had. And looking back, I know that strength was Swamiji, and despite me pulling away, that umbilical cord connection that you have with the Guru, that spiritual umbilical cord, as far as you may go, that will always remain connected. And so now I can see in all those moments in those 10 years, just how Swamiji played such a role in my life to ensure that I didn't fall. So those trying times, there was strength in all those challenges. I was guided, I was protected. And I felt like I didn't, like, Swamiji will never make one feel guilty or anything like that. So it wasn't that. I felt like there was a responsibility I had towards the Middle Eastern Sangha. I didn't stand for that. But now is the time, the opportunity has been given back to me that I can stand for it. And when I was given my spiritual name in 2004, it was already a strong indication. Nitya Atma Prema, which is the spiritual name initiated to me in 2004, was an indication of my purpose. And this is where, when I was living my purpose, is when I felt the most alive. And when I strayed far away from the Guru, the Sangha, and altered my path, there was so much incompletion. And I would often share with members of my family that I didn't feel like I had my purpose. And the only time I ever felt I had purpose was when I was doing work with and seva for Swamiji. And now thinking that the life that I'm living, maybe I'll find that purpose through a job, a different kind of project, or through marriage, or through having children, but still there was something inside that was just unfulfilled. And the moment we stepped back into Adi Kailash in January of 2010, those 10 years just melted away. It felt like we were coming home. And that just knowing that it was with the Guru's grace that we had that opportunity to come back. And no matter how far I went away, the Guru's hand was just always there, guiding, protecting, and ensuring that I have this second chance. And so when Devi Ma gave the message and said the reason for the pralaya is due to forgetting the purpose and diverting from the work I was meant to do, I felt it deeply. And although 10 years may have passed, and the divine grace has pulled me back, and it's offering me a second chance. And what's important now is taking up that responsibility and standing up and actually living the purpose and aligning with that cosmic will now. So it's not about regret. It's not about feeling guilty. It's about coming to alignment and finding that completion and moving forward in alignment with that purpose, with powerfulness. And the responsibility is large. And I never want to take that for granted, because I know what anti-elements have been working now tirelessly for 10 years, incessantly attacking Sanatana Dharma, Swamiji, the Sangha, the entire, and the question is why? Why is this constant attack for 10 years? And I never want to let somebody else determine the purpose of my life, because the purpose is clear. And already those 10 years showed me just how much I had missed and how deeply unfulfilled I felt. And this is the chance to regain that and align myself. And Devi Ma strongly revealed what my soul felt. And now to live out that purpose is the ultimate gift that has happened with the Guru's grace. So this is a long sharing, Ma, but I wanted to give context.
This is a much needed sharing, because you know what, it's not just you. There are maybe hundreds of devotees that are out there who became victim of the persecution, not just in terms of a direct attack, but victims of a persecution where the right information that was not given. The victims of the attack in the sense where, the people whose life also got impacted because of the religious persecution and attack on Swamiji. And it's important that when you realize, it took you 10 years to realize, and maybe there are so many that are still out there and have not realized, and who are listening to your sharing and who realize, oh God, this is exactly what I felt as well. One side you have the wealth of experiences with Swamiji, which is our own experience. We know it, our inner being knows it, our consciousness knows it. We have felt it. We know Swamiji is. And every single devotee who has seen Swamiji, who has been touched by Swamiji, has that wealth of experiences. But what happens sometimes, we may call it delusion, or we may call it whatever name we want, but that wealth of experiences, like you said, gets compartmentalized, and we get consumed by something else that's out there. And it takes us a while for us to spring back and realize, oh God, these were my experiences with Swamiji, and I had them. I know who Swamiji is, and I know what this is, and it wakes us up. And the sooner we wake up, the sooner we realize the purpose of our life. And that's why it's very important, Mahatma Brahma, that people like you, when who were victims of the anti-Hindu attack on Swamiji, and which that led to you separating yourself from the Guru, and now you realize, oh God, that's the time I should have been there, and stood a strong warrior for being warrior for Sanatana Hindu Dharma, warrior for Swamiji, warrior for Kailasa. But now that's what Devi has awakened. I can see after the Devi Parashakti's Akashia reading, how much it's clicked in you, and how much it has revealed to you that what, this is what has happened, and I'm so glad you're coming forward and sharing it for the benefit of others. Countless others that are out there, because the hate speech of Swamiji was spread all over media. Everything was spread all over media, and so many. One of the things I wanted to ask you was, the anti-Hindu elements, they tried to, when they were wanting to falsely implicate Swamiji in so many cases, right? Hundreds of false cases were slapped on Swamiji. And one of the things is they approached so many the anti-Hindu elements approached so many female disciples and devotees of Swamiji, and inviting them to be false witnesses, becoming false victims. And were you approached, to be a false victim, or did they try to pull you into this whole attack against Swamiji?
Yes, Ma. It was a clear indication that was what I was being asked. Not so subtly, because they contacted me and were trying to get me to be involved in this and to support their cause. And I immediately sensed that this is not where I am. This is not at all the space in which I'm in. This is, and I slowly retreated away from, the contact with these people, and I didn't want to upset or anger, but I just detached myself from, because that was not at all. There was not even a moment to think in that way, and to be even approached about such a thing was just unbelievable for me. So. From all the love,
sorry, ma, please go ahead.
So from all that was showered on us, to even consider, that was out of the realm of it. So I think they understood that, and also trying to get some sort of monetary support and all of that. So it was, I can see how many would have been affected the same way that I was. And I was lucky. It was only just 10 years. There may be some people who, it may be longer, and I hope not, because if you are having that call, just listen to it, because that is the call from the divine saying, come back. This is for that completion. I don't want to think about what would have happened had I not, and that I wouldn't be here talking today and sharing this. In that moment, I never thought, like a few years later, I never thought that this would be where I would be sitting today and talking and even discussing this. But I think so many people may be in that same position, and allowing these attacks and this abuse and persecution to affect their spiritual growth and progress. And that would just be the saddest thing.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, it's a loss for us. It's a loss for each individual, because if you are losing your, the more and more we are distancing ourselves from the Guru, the more and more we are distancing ourselves from the true purpose of life, the more and more we are distancing ourselves from what we are here for. Because it is the Guru, it is Swamiji who awakens us to the true purpose of life, makes us realize and experience fulfillment. And the moment we move away from the Guru, we move away from who we are, what we came here for, and that can never give us fulfillment, right? We can go and do so many different different things. You can have the best of the best businesses, the best of the families, the best of job and relationships and wealth, but that's not the best of you. So whatever you do, it does not give you that fulfillment. There is a deep lack. There is something that's missing. And that is the divine call. Like you said, there are so many visions that happen. Swamiji is there for you. And that was where we need to come back to. And I can tell you, every single devotee who, was a devotee of Swamiji and was a victim of these attack of these anti-Hindu elements would also know that there has been a deep call. They just need to answer the call, answer that incoming call from Paramashiva and realign ourselves to the true purpose of life. And one of the things that you also shared, Mahatma Prema, I wanted to bring these anti-Hindu elements, like how they approached you and wanting you to become one of the, the false victims. And that's what they have done. They have approached so many, female disciples of Supreme Pontiff and wanting to somehow trying to use them to become a false victim of Swamiji, right? If somebody is, let's say, for example, somebody is really affected, I would be the one who's affected. Because I'm affected, I'll go in and maybe complain somewhere. But nobody needs to come and tell me, oh, you know what? Why don't you come and falsely implicate? So the very intention of the anti-Hindu elements is very clear. And because they approached you to be a false victim yourself. So all of us should realize that the whole ecosystem, the anti-Hindu ecosystem, which was trying to attack Swamiji, trying to falsely implicate Swamiji, trying to assassinate him, trying to slap these hundreds of false cases, is a huge persecution against Sanatana Hindu Dharma. And because, like Swamiji in a very satsang sometime back, he said, I am being attacked because I am standing to protect Sanatana Hindu Dharma. I am standing up to protect all of you, and that's why I am being attacked. He's standing up to protect the enlightenment ecosystem. He's standing to protect and revive Sanatana Hindu Dharma, and that is why he is attacked. But sometimes delusions and the illusions that we live in, our mind does not wake up to the reality of what's happening out there, and we end up losing or moving away from the purpose of life. And even at that point, it is only the uncomparable compassion of Swamiji. Even then, even when we distance ourselves, he reaches out to us and he awakens us to the true purpose. So beautifully shared, Mahatma Prema. Is there anything else that you would like to share about your experience?
Just to share from this past year, to from 2020 to today, 2021, the exponential, and okay, let me just say this. I live a life that's very comfortable. I've lived in many different countries. I've got the opportunity to travel, live with all luxuries. There's nothing that I am wanting for in life. Yet there was this deep unfulfillment that now in this past 1 year with Swamiji has just been immense growth, spiritual growth, evolution, healing, completion, immeasurable. There are things that I could share that are unbelievable for other people to, and in this 1 year, what has happened has been, this is how life around Swamiji is. It's just exponential. It's just that super conscious breakthrough after breakthrough, and the cognitions and everything. And I'm sure many people will attest the same, obviously. And that's not something I can even imagine having missed. And the opportunity to be back and the opportunity to realign myself and get and come to the true purpose is something I really pray for all the others who are victims of these attacks.
So beautifully shared, Mahatma Prema. Thank you so much for coming live and sharing your experience with everybody. And thank you so much. I don't know what else to say. It's just been like, it's not easy for somebody to come forward and share so openly, what they have gone through and how you have been a victim of this attack, and which separated you from Guru, distanced you from the purpose of your life. And now with Devi Parashakti's blessings, with Swamiji's blessings, I'm so glad that you realized you're back and you wanted to realign and become a part of Swamiji and Sangha. Thank you so much for coming forward and sharing, Mahatma Prema.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you to Swamiji Nithyananda.
Nithyananda. Dear viewers, before we continue with the next segment of today's program, let's take a short break.
Kailasa is proper customized spiritual service helping you to identify your root patterns of suffering. We have perfected the science of helping every individual from every cultural, religious, nationality background. You will have lowest reactionary assumptions, highest awakened response, alive response for life continuously. Kailasa is enlightenment ecosystem, literally enlightenment itself in your own home, wherever you are. Proper customized spiritual service helping you to complete with your life negativity, withdrawal from life, self-hatred, self-denial, self-doubt, so much of tiredness, laziness. We can support you aligning your diet, your attitude, your aptitude, your understanding about life. We can help you with everything. If you are interested in enlightenment, we will immediately bring this to you. If you are not interested, we will explain the whole science, inspire you and make you interested in enlightenment science. We need to cater this enlightenment science to the whole world wherever they are, because enlightenment is the birthright of all human beings. Kailasa is responsible to provide that to all human beings. Kailasa is the totality of the knowledge I received from my gurus and practice manifested in my life, perfected by teaching millions of people from all cultures, time zones, backgrounds, genders, nationality, race, from every creed. So this absolutely perfected knowledge available to you, served to you in your home without even you moving out of your couch, free of cost.
Nithyananda, so
welcome back. So we'll now be moving on to the next segment of pausing. So how do we offer our deep gratitude and devotion to Parashakti? So these are the various offerings to which we can offer a deep gratitude to Parashakti. So offering is a gift. Actually, it is giving of divine gift of pure love, devotion, and oneness. And it consists of two parts. One is giving, and number two is accepting. So only when the divine accepts what one offers, the offering itself becomes complete. So offering is not made out of any fear or out of greed. So when an avatar lands, the offerings are purely a part of the grand Leela, which is played only for the purpose of enlightenment. Yes. So we have the Dhyana Sloka. Induni bhaveda karavagdhinayanam syat pankajavara japaksha sarayuktam angahimabhushana vichitra vasanam syat tungamakutojvala manunmani swarupam. Yes, so the translation says, moon-like face, holding the Veda books on hand, fire in eyes, with lotus flower, gracing and blessing hands, and one hand with japamala, beautifully decorated with jeweled ornaments in wonderful clothes, and shining wing crown. Her name is Manunman. We also have one more Dhyana Sloka. It says, Dhyaye Devim Trinetram Sashini Bhavadanam Vedahastam Dadanam Savye Padmam Varadamabare Chabhayam Chakshamalam Divyairabharanai Vibhushitadanum Brahmadibhi Pujitam Devimeva Manunmanim Pratidinam Kamartha Datrim Shubham. So the translation says, I meditate on Devi with three eyes, glowing like moon, and hold the Veda, lotus, and gracing with blessing and gracing hands. She is wearing beautiful ornaments. She is worshipped by Brahma and other many gods, and showers auspicious boons for all actions every day. Yes. So now let us understand what is the significance of the divine. So the Atharva Veda beautifully mentions that gold is divine element. It purifies anything it touches. It is an element of spiritual significance and great spiritual power of healing and enlightening. The vibration of gold has the power to infuse sattva energy and positive thought currents in anyone who wears and anyone who sees or operates in its vicinity. So gold is present in all scriptures, agamas, Vedas, Shrutis, Smritis, Itihasas, and Puranas. In all Hindu scriptures, it is abundantly displayed that gold is the most auspicious and purest metal which purifies our being. So in the Hindu civilization, everything was actually built in gold, exchanged in gold, and the ritual feasts were offered in golden bricks. So when one was to be saved from life-threatening illnesses, gold was offered as a ritual fee. Gold was in abundance and used for weighing equivalent amounts of commodities, including cows. So kingdoms were built with huge doors of gold. The streets would have huge columns and huge archways made of gold. So horses and cows were dressed up in gold. So the Hindu civilization, it thrived on the banks of rivers of gold, and the Indus River was called Hiranmaya in Rig Veda. So the river Saraswati was called Hiranyavardhani in Atharva Veda. So gold is the supreme element for offering gifts to the ones you love and revere. Temples are constructed and paved in gold. Deities are made in gold and decked and adorned in gold because it preserves the enlightenment energy for thousands of years and it lasts forever. So with that, we'll be moving on to the first offering to Devi Parashakti. So the first offering is the E-Hundi offering, which We'll start with the Shastra Pramana. Bhakti Priya Bhakti Gamya Bhakti Bhashya Bhayapaha Shambhavi Sharadharadhya Sharvani Sharmadayini. So Devi is fond of true devotion. True devotion. She can be won over through true devotion, and she removes all the fears. So if there is any fear in the minds of the devotee, Devi is sure to remove that fear, and it is stated that Devi likes to be worshipped in autumn. So here it is meant that autumn of our lives, when thoughts turn more and more inwards, the role of the divine is known and understood very clearly. So the need for Devi worship becomes stronger. So you can also offer your gratitude and devotion to Devi Parashakti. And by offering the kanikai, the e-hundi, and your name also will be chanted out during the puja to Parashakti. So you can offer any amount as a token of your devotion and gratitude in the form of e-hundi. The next offering is the offering of Sankalpa chanting. So the Sankalpa chanting, the Devi Mahatmya explains that the goddess enchants this universe and she herself gives birth to this universe. That goddess, being prayed without interest in anything, gives that knowledge that leads to salvation and gives wealth in materialistic sense. So offering the Sankalpa, the conscious resolution, it blesses the person offering with all the fruition of the desires and wishes he is yearning for. The next offering is the offering of the Sahasranama Swarnakasu. Sorry for the technical glitch. So the next is the Sahasranama Swarnakasu. So the beautiful verse from Lalita Sahasranama, it says, Namaparayana Prita. So it refers that she who likes the repetition of her various names. So this is the offering of 1008 names of Devi Parashakti. And it is a very special and unique archana offered with Mahameru of Devi Parashakti. So you can offer a gold coin inscribed with each of the 1008 names of Parashakti and receive her blessings to have all the Ananta Kalyana Gunas, all the divine qualities of Parashakti. So you can offer this Sahasranama Swarnakasu at $75 or $151 or $251. The next offering is the offering of Mukta Anguti, the finger ring with a pearl. So the Meenakshi Pancharatnam, it says, Mukta Hara Lasat Kirita Ruchiram Pum Shinjannu Pura Kinkini Manidaram Padma Prabhabasuram Sarvabhishta Falapradam Girisutam Vani Rama Sevitam Meenakshim Pranatosmi Santatamaham Karunyavaram. So I bow to the goddess Meenakshi, whose crown has garlands of pearls, and the face shining like a full moon, who wears anklets that are studded with gemstones and has small bells, who is shining like the splendor of lotus, who grants all the wishes, the daughter of the mountain, who is worshipped by the goddess Vani and Rama. I remain ever bowing to the goddess Meenakshi, the ocean of compassion. So you can offer the Mukta Anguti, the finger ring with a pearl, and receive Devi's blessings to be showered by her compassion and pure love in all your business endeavors. So you can offer this Mukta Anguti at $251, $501, or $750. The next offering is offering of Swarna Padma Pushpam, the golden lotus. The Kamikagama verse, which explains all the kalasas should be wound around with suitable thread and covered with new cloth. So they should be adorned with flower made of gold. So what is the significance of this golden lotus? So we have hundreds of scriptural references for using lotus in the worship of Paramashiva. So almost everything in the worship of the ultimate involves the consecration of deities of worship, or meditating on or on the mudras and asanas used during worship involves the lotus flower, the lotus leaf, lotus pericarp, lotus petal. So lotus itself is a divine flower. So Shakti of Paramashiva is also called as a lotus. The base of Paramashiva Linga is a lotus. The disciple of Paramashiva is also considered as a lotus. So you can offer the golden lotus in any size you wish to and be blessed to have the state, the space, powers and being of Devi in your inner space amidst any or every adverse situation in your life. So you can offer this Swarna Padma Pushpam, the golden lotus, for $600. The next offering is offering of Swarna Metti, the golden touring. So the beautiful verse, it explains about Devi Parashakti. Nakhadi diti sanchanna namajjana tamo guna padadvaya prabhajala prakrita saroruha. So you whose brightness from the toenails destroy the darkness of ignorance from the minds of your devotees who prostrate at your feet. So you whose brightness from your 2 feet empowers that of the lotus flower. So you can offer this beautiful Swarna Metti, the golden touring, adorning her sacred feet, to be in constant gratitude to receive her blessings in even the most difficult aspects of your life. So you can offer the Swarna Metti, the golden touring, for $750. Next offering is the offering of Swarna Mangtika, the golden hairline jewelry. So the verse, it says, Sudhasarabi Varshini. She who makes the nectar flow in all our nerves from Sahasrara, that is, she who gives the very pleasant experience of the ultimate. So the Mangtika, it represents the nectar flowing from the Sahasrara chakra, which is fully opened. So the Swarna Mangtika, when you offer it, you can receive her blessings of achieving the blissful state of overflowing gratitude and space of complete completion. So you can offer it at $750. The next offering is the offering of Pratyaksha Pada Puja. So you can offer your deep gratitude and offer all your karmas at the feet of the Divine Master and Parashakti. So the sloka from the Saundarya Lahari, it very beautifully explains that the nails of Parashakti, it has been sharpened by constantly being touched by the crowns of the celestial beings who always prostrate before Devi. So Tamo Guna is darkness. In this stotra, tamas is indicative of ignorance in the minds of devotees. And by constantly prostrating before Devi, their ignorance is removed and they attain knowledge. So you can offer this Pratyaksha Pada Puja and receive the blessings and auspiciousness of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasanidhanam, His Divine Holiness Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramahansa. So along with the Pratyaksha Pada Puja, you can also offer the Vastra Seva for $1,008 and receive the blessings and auspiciousness of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Yes. So we have all these offerings to Parashakti being listed out and it is projected on the screen. Offering of E-Hundi, the Sankalpa chanting, the Devi Sahasranama Kasu, the Mukta Anguti, which is the pearl finger ring, the Swarna Padma Pushpam, the golden lotus flower, the Swarna Metti, the golden touring for the lotus feet of Devi, the Swarna Mangtika, the golden hairline jewelry, and the Pratyaksha Pada Puja and the Vastra Seva. Yes. So anyone who wants to offer the Sevas to Parashakti today can actually go ahead and sign up in the link tiny.cc/Devi-offerings. And after you make the online payment, you can actually go ahead and submit your details for your names to be chanted during the puja. And that link is tiny.cc/Sankalpa 2021.
Nithyananda Paramashivoham Nithyananda Paramashivoham Nithyananda Paramashivoham Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda 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 Paramashivoham.
Yes. So Nithyanandam everyone. So now we will go to the link and helping you how to exactly make an online payment for the seva. So the link is now projected on the screen and you'll be guided to this page which is being projected now. Yes. You can go ahead and choose an option in the sevas, for example, the Pratyaksha Pada Puja. So you'll be guided to the Pratyaksha Pada Puja link and you can add to the cart. You can go ahead and proceed to the checkout. So after that, you can actually fill out your details. After that, you need to go to the, after making an online payment for the seva, go to the Sankalpa link and fill out all your details. Fill out your details and then you can click submit to have your names chanted during the puja. We also have go to the live YouTube live stream. So you can go to the super chat and super sticker option and click onto that and avail this opportunity to offer your devotion and gratitude to the Supreme Pontiff Hinduism. Yes. So with that, we come to the end of this segment.
Nithyananda Paramashivoham. We get you health. We get you ability to build beautiful relationships in your life. We get you direct spiritual support and we make sure you become wealthy. We won't stop giving you just good life. whole world should become Kailasians.
I want the whole world to know Hindus have something great to contribute to the world. We have something great to contribute to the world. Let us do that.
Kailasa is proper customized spiritual service helping you to identify your root patterns of suffering. We have perfected the science of helping every individual from every cultural, religious, nationality background. You will have lowest reactionary assumptions, highest awakened response, alive response for life continuously. Kailasa is enlightenment ecosystem, literally enlightenment itself in your own home, wherever you are. Proper customized spiritual service helping you to complete with your life negativity, withdrawal from life, self-hatred, self-denial, self-doubt, so much of tiredness, laziness. We can support you aligning your diet, your attitude, your aptitude, your understanding about life. We can help you with everything. If you are interested in enlightenment, we will immediately bring this to you. If you are not interested, we will explain the whole science, inspire you and make you interested in enlightenment time. We need to cater this enlightenment science to the whole world wherever they are, because enlightenment is the birthright of all human beings. Kailasa is responsible to provide that to all human beings. Kailasa is the totality of the knowledge I received from my gurus and practice manifested in my life, perfected by teaching millions of people from all cultures, time zones, backgrounds, genders, nationality, race, from every creed. So this absolutely perfected knowledge available to you, served to you in your home without even you moving out of your couch, free of cost. Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. There are some great spiritual sciences unique to Hinduism. Subtle, otherworldly but definitive sign manifesting the cosmic beings in Archavatara, deities in Nijavatara, living incarnations is possible. Understand? Priya Pada of Vedas and Agamas elaborately explain the whole science of making the cosmic beings manifest in Archavatara, deities and Nijavatara, living incarnations, both. During the Bhava Samadhi Darshan, literally those cosmic beings manifest through this body. Just like how they manifest in Archavatara, deity, they manifest in Nijavatara, Pratyakshavatara, and give you all the boons you ask, bless you. You see, each God is an independent intelligence to lead you to enlightenment. Each God is a bridge for you to achieve the Shivatva, the ultimate Shiva consciousness. Krishna is the bridge for you to achieve the Krishna consciousness. But Shiva consciousness, Krishna consciousness, all consciousness is one and the same. Ultimate consciousness only. So that energy itself completely expresses.
Just like Radhika, when I see my own sweetness in the mirror, I become eager to taste it. I find that the only way to relish this sweetness is through the constitution of Sri Radhika.
Bhava Samadhi Darshan is a window to the infinite expanse of consciousness, allowing us to glimpse the formless in a way that we can understand. It cleanses the karmas of lifetimes. It awakens our biomemory to the space of Paramashiva, the ultimate consciousness, and creates a deep and lasting transformation in us.
How the anti-Hindu militant terrorist forces, they have launched a bio war on the Adi Kailasa ship and on the last lamp of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasanidhanam, His Divine Holiness, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashiva. The anti-Hindu militant forces have a long history of executing a massive persecution and genocide against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and his devotees. Marginalization of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and ASMT by politically affiliated neo-Hindutva and state-owned media. On the 2nd of March of 2010, the Sun TV, the politically owned media house of the Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam, DMK, which was the ruling party of the state of Tamil Nadu in 2010, made a sensational and a repeated screening of a fabricated video purporting to show the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism with a well-known Indian film actress, and the video was later proven to be false. The judge ordered the television station to run an apology for it every 2 hours for 7 days, and Hansraj Saxena, the COO of Sun TV, confessed on the public television as well as gave a sworn affidavit to a US court detailing the history and the modus operandi of the blackmail and extortion and was jailed for the same. However, the state-owned and controlled television channels within a few hours ensured that the television telecast was stopped. The ASMT captured the video recording of the telecast and has this as an evidence of the same. They did not remedy the challenge. They did not remedy the damage that was done. Now, following the hate propaganda started by the DMK-affiliated Sun TV, the politically owned Neo-Hindutva media amplified the misinformation and hatred, spreading it to the entire country with titles such as Hang the Sin Swamis. This resulted in marginalization of Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and the Adi Shaivite minority tradition community, that they were neither able to receive fair trials from the judiciary nor sympathy or empathy of the society. Then, on the 26th of March 2010, the Karnataka State Police, the CID, unlawfully sent letters to the bank holding the bank accounts, holding the bank accounts of the public charitable trust of the temple monastery of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, illegally ordering them to freeze all the bank accounts of the trust. No debit transaction was allowed, making the main source of food and basic amenities for the residents of the monastery a huge struggle. There was no food to be served in the monastery. The residents were pushed to the crisis. They were forced to survive by drinking rainwater, which was collected underground, and living by sorting the good grains out of the rotten ones. When they appealed to the court to seek relief, the judge made a mocking statement in the open court. If there is no food, eat air. Several residents and the full-time volunteers fled the monastery due to starvation. Several social, welfare and spiritual services of the monastery had to be discontinued. Although the Indian law and the customary international law and treaties unanimously declare a presumption of innocence of an accused until proven guilty, this fundamental right of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam, and his disciples have been repeatedly targeted and denied over 10 years because of undue influence and misinformation by the powerful state-funded media houses. On the 11th of June 2010, while hearing of a bail for the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagat Guru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, the High Court of Karnataka described this in its order, the undue media influence against Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, as it mentioned in the point number 13. What did the court order mention? It says, however, it is not a matter for the court to discuss since the issue was subsidized by media by telecasting the incident, and a question mark is created against the public as regard to the image of Swamiji. Already, the continuous airing of hate speech, atrocity material against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has been telecasted by the media, the anti-Hindu media, and this has already put a question mark amongst the public with regards to the image of the Supreme Pontiff. Now, as for the Oxford Dictionary of the word subsidy or to subsidize means to give or contribute a sum to support an industry or a business to keep the price of its product or service low. What the High Court observed was that the attacks or the allegations on the character of Supreme Pontiff were funded by media, not sustained by facts or any complainer or witness who was a part of the actual case. The media had no obligation to make true claims, was not under no declaration of any oath or any court of law, and could anytime retract from any of its claims, and had no locus standi in the court on legal grounds, but it had a very prominent influence in the negatively prejudicing the judiciary against the Supreme Pontiff and the ASMT. On the 3rd of March 2010, the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Karunanidhi, made a public statement inciting hatred towards the Supreme Pontiff and the ASMT community. This was published in several newspapers and cited by several media channels. Now, the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu stereotyped and vilified Swamis, the Hindu monks, labeling them as cheats, imposters, brainwashers, destroyers of life of the people, swindlers of money, despicable Swamis, hoodwinks who are disguising in the name of devotion, hoodwinkers who are disguising in the name of devotion, pushing the literate into the deep pit. This is what the Chief Minister himself has spoken about the Supreme Pontiff. The Chief Minister declared the stand of his government on Hindu monks, like the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. My government cannot tolerate the despicable Swamis, hoodwinking hacks. The Chief Minister described the practicing Hindus who are following the Swamis, like the followers of Supreme Pontiff, as people who are deeply buried in ignorance, who still cannot understand these, or even if understood, do not want to change. He addresses the devotees as fickle-minded people who have fallen prey to the Swamis and destroying the society. The Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu further explains his stand on the practicing Hindus who followed the gurus like the Supreme Pontiff, saying, this government won't be a mute spectator of those fickle-minded people who have fallen prey to the Swamis and are destroying the society. The Chief Minister pleaded to the citizens, those who really want these preachers to be eradicated should stand by and support the actions of my government. In a similar interview, the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Karunanidhi, gave an interview in Trichy on the 3rd of March 2010, where in the context of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, he said, of late, immorality has been rampant in temples and monasteries. On the 12th of April 2010, the present organization of Karunanidhi, which is the Dravida Kazhagam, hosted a press meeting wherein the leader of the anti-Hindu atheist terrorist K. Veeramani said the central and state governments should clearly take criminal action against them. The crores of properties they have earned through crooked means should be taken over by the government. The fabricated video of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism became a political justification for the state government to implement and execute anti-Hindu laws and executive orders that destroyed all Hindu temples in Tamil Nadu over the next decade. Earlier, on the 5th of March 2010, Veeramani had given an interview wherein he said, the context of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and other Hindu gurus, if you probe them, they will ultimately end their life in jail, almost national criminals. So much of hate speech against the Supreme Pontiff. Now, following the statement of the Chief Minister, the very next day, on the 4th of March 2010, the state police filed a fabricated accusations on Supreme Pontiff, charging him under Section 376 rape without mentioning anybody as a victim of the rape. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism continued to be hounded by the police of 3 states, the neo-Hindutva media and the state intelligence for months. Days, more than 50 ASMT temples and monasteries in different cities were attacked simultaneously and rapidly. Some set on fire and shut down by the atheist militants aiding the state police. The unabated decade-old genocide on the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism comprised of over 70 assassination attempts, over 250 sexual assaults on the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and ASMT monks and disciples, lawfare of 120 false cases over 10 years, massive hate propaganda in electronic media over 14,000 hours, print media of over 25,000 articles in 5 years, destruction of heritage properties worth over 27 billion, and the continuing ethnocide and genocide of over 80 million Hindus worldwide of over 7 countries. And now let us see what happens now, 11 years later, on the 2nd of March 2021. the anti-Hindu militant terrorist forces launch the seeds of terrorism on the Adi Kailasha's ship, the last lamp of Hinduism. Now, the anti-Hindu militant forces have deployed biowar agents on Adi Kailasha's ship, the last hope for India to survive the COVID-19. The history of biowar targeting His Divine Holiness and his community. Now, on the 7th of June 2012, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism held a press meet in a large hall in Bengaluru Monastery to reveal a clinching evidence about the falsity of the fabricated charges of rape foisted against Supreme Pontiff. Now, during the press meet, the Swarna television barged in with the chief editor Ajit Hanumakkanawar and armed militants. In an attempt to assassinate His Divine Holiness, Ajit Hanumakkanawar forced an anthrax letter bomb on the Supreme Pontiff. Now, seeing the danger, the assistants of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism took him through a different door and exited the hall as they were able to save him. Finally, the disciples seized the package, handed it over to one of the secretaries of the Supreme Pontiff. The secretary went to his office with the package. Though the disciples managed to protect His Divine Holiness, his assistant became a victim of the collateral damage of this biowar. No sooner did the secretary open the cover, the letter bomb exploded on him. A white dust containing spores of unknown variants of Bacillus anthracis, which is anthrax pathogens, spread all over him. At that time, not able to understand what it was and feeling dizzy, the secretary drank some water and fainted, while Ajit and his henchmen quietly left the campus. The secretary survived, but had a severe negative impact on his health for almost a decade and still continues to impact his health adversely. Now, what are the seeds of the terror? A bioweapon. Now, there is a recent international phenomenon where packages are being sent to various people around the world, especially in the US, UK, and three other countries. And on the 31st of July 2020, the Animal and the Plant Health Inspection Service of the US Department of Agriculture in a statement had said that the main concern is that these seeds can introduce damaging pests, diseases that could harm US agriculture. India is also on the target list. On the 31st of July 2020, senior Indian government officials said China had an advanced scientific capabilities to do such an attack on India's soil too. The conspiracy was revealed in detail here prior. Now let us look at why is Adi Kailash targeted after a short break.
Nithyananda Paramashivoham Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. We get you help. We get you ability to build beautiful relationships in your life. We get you direct spiritual support and we make sure you become wealthy. Viewing of Paramashiva.
Have something great to contribute to the world. We have something great to contribute to the world. Let us do that.
Kailasa is proper customized spiritual service helping you to identify your root patterns of suffering. We have perfected the science of helping every individual from every cultural, religious, nationality background. You will have lowest reactionary assumptions, highest awakened response, alive response for life continuously. Kailasa is enlightenment ecosystem, literally enlightenment itself in your own home, wherever you are self-doubt, so much of tiredness, laziness, we can support you, aligning your diet, your attitude, your aptitude, your understanding about life. We can help you with everything.